The technical setup for your emails to ensure deliverability is critically important to what we do here at Pearl Lemon Leads. Hi, my name is Deepak Shukla, and what I want to do is take you through ultimately some of the finer components of what we do with technical email setup to give you a sense of all that's involved and to just demonstrate that we really care about our processes and want to make sure that the end goal of our emails getting delivered so we can deliver you results happens. So let's run through some of these steps. So the first thing is to decide which domain to send from. Are we going to send from a professional domain because, it's sensible to send from a professional domain? But what about sending from a personal Gmail account or a personal email account? When you receive an email from a personal email account, then you tend to bring your guard down because you think it's either a small company or it's an individual, i.e. freelancer, and somebody might be asking for a favor. The end point of that is that your guard goes down, right? Furthermore, we want to work with whatever drives the best response rate, and from a technical perspective, oftentimes it's easier to send from Gmail accounts, and it also gives that personal feel. With all of that being said, once we've made those decisions, there's a couple of things that need to happen. So the first thing is that when we're purchasing a domain, we want to make sure it's a similar domain. So what I mean by that is, in the case of Pearl Lemon Leads, if we were running a campaign for ourselves, as we do, we have pearllemonleads.net, pearllemonleads.site, pearllemonleads.co, and I think you can see where I'm going with this, that there's innumerable variations. So the second component of it, if we're looking at a Gmail, for example, account that we're going to send from, a personal Gmail, we'll look at aged accounts. So when I say aged accounts, what I mean by that is that we want to have email accounts that are older than 5 years, because that ensures to Gmail that this is an aged account that has been used, so there's more trust associated with that. Okay, when you're purchasing new accounts or new domains, whether it's a personal Gmail, your own personal Gmail, or a personal G Suite account, then Google, rather the inbox filters, will see that, well, this has been set up as a G Suite account, which means it's designed for business. A fresh Gmail account does not really get the deliverability that you seek. So once we've done some of those components, and we'll discuss, whether it's in the case of personal Gmail accounts with our brokers to get and ultimately ensure that we've got the best accounts for you, well then in the case of the professional domain, pearllemonleads.co.net, we'll initiate DKIM, SPF, and DMARC setup. So this really just makes sure that the domain matches the actual email MX provider, right? It makes sure that your domain is authenticated and the person who's sending you the message, a little bit like the postman, is the official postman for that service. A little bit like someone saying they're the Royal Mail postman, but then you check their documents and you see that they're not really the Royal Mail postman. So that is really what some of these things mean, and it's the sender policy framework. You've got DMARC authentication, and as I said, domain keys, something IM, and this is really the setup for professional domains, which is a couple of day process. So once we've done that, we'll also set up the domain redirect to your main website. So what I mean by that is, if someone looks at pearllemonleads.co, what we have is we have a redirect set up in place. So when you go to pearllemonleads.co, it redirects to pearllemonleads.com, ensuring there is no interruption in service, and it's just a smooth one company feel from the actual recipient's perspective. Once we've done that, we'll check number 3 using MX Toolbox, which basically just runs a check to ensure that the DKIM, the SPF, and the DMARC tools are all set up correctly for that email account. So now we've gone and done that, we'll set up the G Suite to configure the sending details for your actual account. So it's a G Suite, which means really it's your business, but under the toolbox or the inbox of G Suite. And we'll install G Suite on our cold emailing platforms. We use Mailshake, we use Woodpecker, we've used a whole variation, and this is something that we sometimes do change depending upon ease of the tool, deliverability of that service provider, and its scalability as well as its support. Then we're going to manually actually warm up the email account with 3 to 5 emails per day. So what we mean by that with a manual warm up is, one of the mistakes that often an agency or an individual or anybody can make, and it's an easy mistake to make, is that once you've got your email account set up, you can start sending hundreds of emails a day, and Google rather the filter. So one thing, Google will automatically throttle or suspend sending on your account for a little while, because it will say, hey, why are you using our account to send hundreds of emails within a day? So you'll face a suspension there. If you face a suspension there, then you can often get into the blacklist of Sorbs and a lot of these kind of anti-spam filters, which are becoming ever more responsive and reliable. So it's something that we do need to be concerned with. Now, with new G Suite accounts, for the first few weeks, some of them will automatically be in spam filters with Sorbs, because that is what they do, because they start from perhaps a lower level of trust. So we'll work to warm up the account to get over all of these issues. Once we've done that, we'll run some initial tests, or further tests if you like, because we're always testing to ensure deliverability. So we'll use, again, MX Toolbox. We'll look at mailer test, we'll look at sender score, we'll look at a couple of different tools that we use to ensure these emails are sending and that we're getting a high rating as to our email copy, our actual type of emails, and the sequences. And once we've done that, we'll move the domain plus the email into a launch ready folder, so then we can move forward with launching your campaign.